Scene Daddy Interviews.
All right, everyone, and welcome to Scene Daddy Interviews. My name is Ian, and on the phone right now, I have Tyler of Falling in Reverse. Tyler, how you doing today, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Not too bad. Now, I know we went through a little bit back and forth, off air and everything, but now, with that out of the way, what are you doing today? What have you been up to?
Today, I am actually in California.
Okay.
However, I just recently moved back to Las Vegas.
Ah.
And I'm out here on, I guess you could say, like a weekend vacation. But Falling is going to start rehearsing for our upcoming tour, I believe, next week. So I just wanted to get some fun time before things got super busy. So
Exactly.
I'm actually up in Northern California today. Snowy as hell.
Oh,
A little different than Vegas, but
yeah.
Very much needed.
Why Northern California then? Do you have family up there, friends? What are you up to?
No, it's just, Northern California isn't a place that I get to visit very often, for the exception of tour.
Yeah.
And usually when you're on tour, you're only there for a day and a half, maybe. So
right.
I really, really like the Pacific Northwest, and this is just a little south of it.
Oh, okay.
And I just wanted to get out of town for a little bit.
Very cool. So now, with being in Vegas or being located in Vegas, is that where Falling in Reverse normally practices, rehearses, does all that?
No. So everything typically happens in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So, however, the band was originally from Las Vegas.
Right.
Ronnie was born and raised in Las Vegas, and that's where Escape to Fate was from prior to that. So Derek and I both live in Las Vegas, and Ronnie had moved back for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when me and Ronnie started getting pretty close and hanging out a lot. And me and Ronnie had moved back out to Los Angeles. And so basically anytime a music video or a recording or a rehearsal or anything like that is pretty much based out of LA. And that's where Epitaph is based out of as well, which is the label that Falling is on.
Yep.
But yeah, so no, everything is pretty much in LA these days.
All right. So then you're going to start by going back to Vegas, but then going back to LA for rehearsals, basically.
Yeah. So I got about a week and a half left in Vegas before things get pretty heavy with Falling again, because we're going to be gone for, technically I'll be away from home for about 2 months.
Wow. Okay.
Because you got to keep in consideration, you probably have about a week and a half to 2 weeks of rehearsals. Because I believe on this next run, it's going to be quite a lengthy set. So there's a lot of songs that, considering I'm a new guy, there's a lot of songs that I haven't played yet, and there's a lot of songs that the other guys haven't played in years. You know what I mean? So we'll be rehearsing for a little bit, and then we're going to be on the road for about 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is.
Yeah.
So, which the first day is in Vegas, so I'll be gone for 2 weeks in LA, and then I come right back. My home is the first show, so that'll be good.
No, that's great. Yeah, that's kind of a way of making you feel a little comfortable before going out, for that entire thing. So yeah, the episode 3 tour starts, I think it's the end of April. It's like April 20th, if I'm not mistaken.
April 20th is, the tour kicks off April 20th in Las Vegas.
That's awesome. So when you're talking about all the, songs that you guys are going to be going through, how do you guys make that decision? Because like you said, you're pretty new to the band. There have been some member changes as well. And there's so much that, you guys can go through, having 4 albums plus, whatever else Ronnie wants to do, I guess. So how do you guys normally decide on what your set list is going to be?
Well, if I'm being completely honest with you, man, me being the new guy,
yeah.
My motto is, if you like it, I love it. Just tell me what just tell me what I need to play. You know what I mean? Ronnie is Falling in Reverse, and Derek being one of the guys that had been there since day one.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to think that Ronnie puts together the set list, and then Derek kind of looks over it and says, this would be really cool, and maybe we could do this song instead. I'm not too sure. I just get the set list.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
To start learning weeks before we rehearse. So I'm not too sure about that, but what I can say is that I do have the set list now.
Okay.
And it's a pretty long one. And I was a fan of Falling before I joined, and the songs that we're playing, I'm pretty stoked on, because there's songs that they're bringing out that I haven't heard in years.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there's quite a few newer songs that I don't think people have heard yet. So it's gonna be a pretty good show.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I mean, now looking at that set list, obviously you're going to want to keep that secret, but with the length of it, is there anything that you're concerned about? Not only being the new guy, but just because it's such a long set, you guys are going to be headlining. Is there anything that you're doing to train right now?
Well, I think that's split into two questions, to be honest. Is
Sure.
there anything that I'm worried about? Absolutely not, because
Nice.
I mean, in my opinion, this is one of the strongest lineups that there've been.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the vocalist, to the playability of each member in the band, I think there's nothing to worry about on that end. And in terms of like just it being excited about it, I'm super excited about it.
Mhm.
And I think the fans are going to be stoked because there's just, like I said, there's so many songs that people haven't heard in forever. I recall Ronnie tweeting like, "What do you guys want to hear on this tour?" And
Yeah.
I think he had asked that like not prior to, but after he'd already made the set list. And I've seen a lot of kids saying a lot of songs that he's already put together on the, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be cool. Another cool thing about this tour is, so we have New Year's Day,
Right.
we have From Ashes to New, and we have Ice Nine Kills.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah. And the cool thing about that is, so the guitar player of From Ashes to New,
Mhm.
his name's Lance.
Yeah.
I grew up in Ohio, and Lance grew up in Ohio, so I haven't seen him probably since 2007.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When him and I were in local bands together in the Northeast Ohio area, so that'll be pretty cool.
Very cool.
And then I've toured with Ice Nine Kills when I was in New Year's Day. So
Yeah, right.
This is gonna kind of be like a home reunion. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. I was going to get to that as well.
Sure.
You were in New Year's Day for a pretty significant amount of time. So is it weird, to go back and be touring with them again?
Absolutely not, man.
Very nice.
Well, I mean, oh man, I don't really know where to start. There's so many angles that we could turn this conversation into.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, so no, it's not gonna be weird at all.
Okay.
I see the guys in New Year's Day quite a bit,
Mhm.
and when you're in a local band and you're like, man, like I want to know these guys and I want to know this person and how do I get on that show? And it seems almost impossible when you're in a local band. You know what I mean?
Right.
But once you're really doing it, you realize how small the community is.
Ah, okay.
So it's like I see Ash and Nikki, and I see they're doing very well and stuff, and it's gonna be good to see them again. When I was living in LA, I'd see them here and there. Like we'd go out and just through mutual friends, they'd show up and we'd all be at the same party or at the same event or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh man, it is. I'm about like 8,000 feet in elevation, and it's kind of getting to me right now because I'm outside. I'm like, probably like I'm out of breath.
Yeah, it does a little bit, but yeah, I kind of figured you were up in that elevation area.
No, yeah, I am up deep in the mountains right now. It's kind of crazy. But no, yeah. So it's gonna be really good to see New Year's Day again. I was with them for quite a bit of time, and they're really, really good people, and it's gonna be a really good show.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to hear the songs that I used to play.
Right.
And I want to, because I mean, just in the time that I had departed the band, they've gotten progressively heavier. So I want to see how they incorporate that into the old songs, because I know that the new songs are much heavier than what we were playing back then.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, because you were there during right around when Malevolence came out, right?
I had left right before that. They were recording Malevolence. So,
okay.
I mean, I was in the band around, I want to say it was like 14, 15 or 15, 16, something like that.
Right.
I had went over to Europe with them. We had played with Escape the Fate,
right.
Glamour of the Kill. We had played with Motionless in White. I mean, yeah, I did quite a bit of stuff with them, and it was a really good time with them as well.
That's great to hear.
A lot of inside jokes, I can tell you that.
Oh, I'm sure that tour is going to be really fun behind the scenes for sure. But
oh yeah,
the things that you're saying as well about the scene and the group of people that you know, or it being a really small world, really is true. Because you think you're in Falling in Reverse now with Ronnie, and then you went over even before that and you toured with Escape the Fate, and we all know the connection there. So Ice Nine Kills, New Year's Day, Escape the Fate, like everything you've done so far seems to tie together pretty nicely, and to be friends with everyone and to, look forward to that tour has got to be a great feeling for you.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I mean, if you want to make the world even smaller, it's like, I had been reached out by a good friend of mine and yours, the singer screamer of Saving Vice. I had known Tyler because he had lived out in Las Vegas years prior, back when me and him were, cutting our teeth on local shows and,
for sure,
just doing just like small Eagle Area Hall type gigs, So yeah, it's extremely small.
It really is. Yeah. That's actually really interesting.
It's crazy, huh?
It really is. Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about you being, like, I would almost call you almost like a nomad, because you're kind of going to these different bands and filling in where needed. Have you been able to record with any of these bands at all? Like, is that something you're looking to do?
Yes and no. I have done a lot of recording behind the scenes in bands that are well known and some that aren't. But you never know what the future holds either. It's like I have played both roles in bands. I have been like the leader, where I'm the singer songwriter. I do the merch. I do this. I do that.
Wow.
And then I've been in situations where it's like in Falling in Reverse. It's like, whenever you do, I wouldn't necessarily call it a hired gun thing, because I'm a permanent member now. But
right.
It's one thing you need to learn in this industry is to know what your place is.
Okay.
So in this band, I would say I'm the bass player, and then I do the vocals. Like, okay, so essentially, Ronnie's a killer vocalist, like live recording, like he's fucking out of control. That's what makes him what he is.
Yeah.
But in order to, make it professional sounding and to make it not as track dependent, you want those live things.
Right.
So, I'm essentially taking over where tracks should be.
Right.
So it just makes it more of an authentic show. So, if Ronnie goes, I want you to scream here, I need the harmony there. That's essentially what I'm there for. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that, but that's pretty much my role in the band.
And that makes a lot of sense as well, because a video that has been making its way around, it was shot by BVTV. It's the track Losing My Life. And it's while you guys you guys are on Warped Tour, and you can see you are focused on a lot because you're filling in those spots that Ronnie needs you to fill in. And you're also playing bass, you're rocking out, you're doing your whole thing. And I think that got you a lot of exposure as well, because of how well you guys were able to pull that off, especially on a Warped Tour setting, which can be very difficult. Yeah.
Warped Tour is a motherfucker too, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I specifically remember. So, and thank you, by the way, for the kind words about that. But what's crazy about that was we were thrown on. We were supposed to do only like 2 weeks, right? It was supposed to be like a tinge of like the Southwest through the Midwest, and then cut off. But Lyman wanted us on longer just because we were doing so well, and but it's like one day we started in Phoenix, and it was so fucking hot that our laptop had crashed, and they had to set it inside of a cooler.
Oh, wow.
Just so it could run. So you're doing that, and you're trying to just, go the fuck off. You're trying to like put on a show, and you're trying to like keep composure. You're not trying to pass out. And then the next day, it's like you're up in Salt Lake City, and it's like dusty and it's chilly kind of for summer. It's kind of weird, So it's, and to be honest, I didn't even know that we were recording that day.
Oh, okay.
I don't think any of us did, to be honest. So I'm glad it turned out so well, because once Warped Tour was over, Ronnie was like, yeah, yo, dude, come upstairs, check out this video. I was like, a video? What? He's like, from live, because when you're on tour, it's like let's just say you do Phoenix, Vegas, Salt Lake City, Denver. By the time you're in Denver, you're looking up, Falling in Reverse, Warped Tour, Phoenix.
Right.
Because there's going to be some people that's going to post some shit by then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's mostly just kids who are, about 40 yards back with their camera, and their hands are covering the speaker, and kids are fucking crowd surfing and kicking phones out of hands. So you can only listen to so much. But like I said, we didn't know that was being shot that day. So I was like, damn, this is hard.
Yeah.
It sounds really, really good. So shout out to Caliber TV also.
Absolutely.
For capturing it so good.
Yeah. They did a great job on that. So have you gotten positive feedback from that? Have people seen you and were like, hey, that's a really damn good set?
Yeah, you know, well, I mean, people don't necessarily come out to me individually.
Okay.
You know what I mean? From like, oh my God, Tyler, you know, they don't do that kind of things. But, you know, if you see something that you put out
Mhm.
and there's the availability to put out comments, you're going to read the comments. And,
Yeah.
you know, I would say there's for every 100 comments, there's like 2 bad ones.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Yeah.
but that's life. You know what I
Exactly,
mean?
yeah.
Look at the scene we're in. It's a bunch of like kids who are heavily opinionated. So
Oh, yeah.
it is what it is. But no, yeah, the feedback's been great, man. Kids are very welcoming of having me in the band. So
Very cool.
I did.
So was that your first Warped Tour?
Yes, that was.
Wow.
It was my
impressive.
first technical Warped Tour. However, when I was in New Year's Day, we did the Warped Tour kickoff party. So in Los Angeles, every April or May,
Mhm.
before it starts, they used to have it at, it was called, I think it's called the Microsoft Theater now, but it was called Club Nokia back then.
Ah, sure, yeah.
You know, they would have all the bands who are going to be on Warped Tour kind of, you know, it's kind of like school orientation, if you will. You know, it's like when you meet
Sure.
the teachers and meet all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it would, you know, you get to meet all the bands and all the management and like labels would come and this and that would come. So, but that was my first official Warped Tour. Yeah.
That's very cool. Now, I got to see you in the Boston date, and I thought you guys did an excellent job. I was there covering
thank
it.
you so much, man.
Absolutely. So it's the last Warped Tour, technically. It's your first one.
Yeah.
You're on one of the biggest bands. I mean, one of the bands that's often, you know, closing out the nights, one of the ones where everyone is going to see you guys.
Right.
What was it like for you?
Oh, man. The only way that I can describe it is, so it's like this. I don't care what genre you're playing. You know, if you want to be in the music industry, every single kid has held, before they even had a guitar, they've held up, you know, a broom in their room, listening to their favorite records, looking in the mirror, wishing that they could accomplish something that their idols have. You know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
And I would say it was kind of like if someone took me when I was 12 and said, hey, you know, like all this like fake guitar playing bullshit you've been doing in your basement. Well, we're just going to go ahead and just let you do it on stage. Like that 12-year-old in me still was there. You know what I mean? Because I'm not jaded enough, or you know what I mean? I'm not like just over it. It's just, you know, it's sweaty. I'm bitching. It's hot. I don't want to play today. I'm hungover. You know, it's very, very grateful for the opportunity that I have still.
That's very cool. So while you're out on tour, because you're a fan, because you love doing what you're doing, was there anyone on that tour that you were stoked to see, that you really went out of your way to make sure you got to see them live at one point or the other?
There was no one who I was necessarily starstruck by. However, you know, so my musical taste like is all over the place, right?
Sure.
But, you know, when I first started listening to the Warped Tour-ish type music, you know, there was a lot of bands that stuck out, whether it be for the songwriting or, you know, imagery or just the way they marketed themselves.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of bands that I really wanted to make sure I saw. Yeah, I mean, you know, like Asking always puts on a great show.
Oh, sure.
Black Veil aesthetically was fun to watch.
Yeah.
A band that I was super excited to see is, you know, well, it's new to me anyway, is Don Brokaw.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys are out of control. You know what I mean?
They are.
It's like, if you try to explain Don Brokaw's music, it sounds like it wouldn't work, but it just works so well. And they do it so tastefully too. You know, there's just no hesitation about their style whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, Warped Tour was a really, really fun time.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say, though, the best memory I have of Warped Tour is, so I'm originally from Cleveland, right?
Okay.
And so this year, or I mean, on just this past Warped Tour year, on my birthday, we were playing my hometown.
Ah, okay.
Right?
Very cool.
And in the morning, I mean, because when you're on Warped Tour, you find out every single morning what time you play.
Right.
It's not like a normal tour where it's like, okay, yeah, you know, bus calls at 2 a.m. You know, you go on stage at 9 and show's over at 7. It's not like that at all. It's like when you wake up, you're either going on stage at 11 in the morning or 8 at night. You never know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, I woke up. It was my birthday. We're in my hometown. Like kids that I went to high school with, I knew were going to be there. Some of my teachers were going to be there. Just dipshits who said I wasn't going to do anything was going to be there. Just everybody was going to be there.
Wow.
And we ended up headlining
that
night.
awesome.
And we got to, and depending on where you're at,
hmm
every venue, like Warped Tour either build a stage, so if you're doing like main stage,
hmm
Warped Tour, they either build a stage for you, or you get to play like the pavilion that the location has provided.
Right.
And that night we got to play, it was called Blossom, which is in Cuyahoga Falls technically, but I mean,
Okay.
no one's going to fucking know what Cuyahoga Falls is on this podcast. But it's kind of between Cleveland and Akron, blah, blah,
Right,
blah.
right,
Who
right.
cares? But what I'm getting at is that is the venue that I used to sit in the grass. I want to be up there when, I found myself on the stage on my 27th birthday. I watched Motley Crue. I've watched Rob Zombie. I've watched Judas
Wow.
Priest. I've watched literally everyone that I've wanted to see as a child. Rush. I mean, I saw everyone there, and I got to play that same stage.
Wow.
So it was pretty wild. Yeah, that has to be hands down one of my favorite memories.
Wow. I don't think you could ask for a better memory than that. That is so awesome.
Honestly, you know what? I used to listen to podcasts like this or interviews from one of my favorite bands is Motley Crue. So I would listen to Nikki Sixx, like, oh yeah, man, my best memory, blah, 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 blah. And all you can do is just absorb the information and go, oh wow, that's a really cool memory of his. But you don't get to officially experience that unless it's you.
Exactly.
I mean, so just try to think of your favorite memory of all time,
Mhm.
whether it be, going to a destination you've never been or falling in love for the first time, and
Right.
whatever it may be, this just trumps it. I just couldn't believe it,
That's awesome. Well, let me,
Yeah.
because, it's, besides just saying it's awesome, like you said, it's very hard to put yourself in the shoes of a person doing that. You mentioned Motley Crue, at the time that this is coming out, the new movie, The Dirt, have you watched it?
Yes, I have.
I'm a little worried based on your tone. Did you not like it?
Here's the deal, man.
Yeah.
Straight up. Here's the deal. I am obsessed with Motley Crue.
Okay.
Okay? It's disgusting. I can tell you what kind of bass Nicky was using, what year. I can tell you where they tracked every single record. I can tell you what liquor store they used to hang out at. I can tell you anything you want to know.
Right.
With that being said, watching that broke my heart. And the reason it broke my heart was because, okay, well, let me take a step back for a second. Let me pump the brakes. Because if you're just a person who thinks, when you think of Motley Crue, you think of girls, and oh yeah, the hair band, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a great film.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But when you're so fucking meticulous and obsessed with something like that,
yeah.
I don't care what it is, and you find so many cracks.
Yeah, right.
In a plot line, or I was starting to cringe a little bit because it's like Nicky Sixx, he would play Gibson Thunderbirds when he first started during Too Fast for Love, and then he started using BC Rich basses during Shout the Devil, and then he used Hamer basses during Theater of Pain, then he used Spectre basses during Girls, 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 and a little bit of Dr. Feelgood.
Sure.
You just know these things if you're an obsessive fan,
right? And
they just kind of gave him a Thunderbird during the whole thing, and they gave Mick Mars Epiphones. It's like, dude, you can fucking afford a Gibson.
True.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I just started finding cracks in the plot, and it was just kind of bumming me out. I mean, even Tommy Lee. So he was wearing a Hulkamania shirt when they were rehearsing in '81, and Hulkamania didn't start until '84.
Sure. Yep. Okay.
You know what I mean? So now, granted, I mean, the book is like 400 or 500 pages long,
right?
And they made it an hour and 47-minute movie.
True.
What I think they should have done was made like a series, like a docuseries, and have 1-hour episodes.
Okay.
However, I understand with that, they would have had to completely re-strategize their marketing campaign and all that. And, there is a budget to these things.
Exactly, yeah.
I think they just should have waited. If they didn't have the budget to do it now, then wait.
Oh, okay.
I just found 2 minutes. This is the last thing I'm going to fucking say, because I'm going to start getting pissed off over the phone. Over this shit. They completely disregarded 1985 through 1992.
Sure.
Okay. And what I mean by that is, it's like Vince Neil got into the car crash.
Yep.
Because that was December 8th, 1984. That was right after they released Shout the Devil, which was Shout the Devil came out in October of '83. So they just got done doing their touring cycle for Shout the Devil, and they had to start writing for Theater of Pain.
Right.
So, the car crash happened, and then all of a sudden it fast forwards to them like doing drugs in the studio for Theater of Pain. It shows them setting up the Theater of Pain tour, and then that was it. Like, I didn't get
Right.
to see a fucking show. I didn't hear a song. I didn't hear shit.
Right.
They didn't even introduce Girls, Girls, Girls. All they did was show Tommy Lee's drum cage, and then they showed him recording Dr. Feelgood.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden John Corabi's in the band and Vince Neil's out. It's just they just basically what I'm getting at is that I should have done the fucking movie.
Yes. I can tell that now. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to be disrespectful at all because I love Motley Crue with
Right.
all my heart, and I still enjoyed the movie. And the more I watch it, the more accepting I'm becoming. I'm going, okay, they have MGK as Tommy Lee. They should have used Ashton Kutcher, but I mean, who the fuck am I? I'm just some kid who likes the band.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm becoming more accepting, but at the same time, it's like they should have just done things that they should have done.
Right. No, look, I was never the biggest Queen fan of all time or anything like that, but
Sure.
it's a very similar thing with me. I don't like Bohemian Rhapsody because of all the misinformation. You know what I mean? There was so much wrong.
See, and that's what I thought too, because when I was watching Bohemian Rhapsody,
Yeah.
all I know about Bohemian Rhapsody is that Freddie Mercury's the man,
Yes.
and they wrote killer songs. I don't know about all of the, promiscuous lifestyle of Freddie Mercury, and I didn't know like how they dealt things financially in the band.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the film. Basically, what I was getting at is that I'm sure that if I was a Queen buff,
Yeah.
I would have been super upset with the film. But since I just enjoy Queen, I enjoyed the film.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't finding holes in all the information or anything.
Very true. Yeah, but I totally get what you're talking about because, yeah, for me, I like Motley Crue, but I know nowhere close to what you know. I know their discography, I know that kind of stuff, but the stuff you're pointing out is stuff that I don't follow enough. So when I watch the movie, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, I like it. But yeah, you're a diehard fan.
Yeah, I could just tell some girl in Silver Lake got a cushy job, so she just looked at what rockers looked like on Pinterest.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just like, oh yeah, that's all that cute. Like, no, man, this ain't gonna fucking cut it, you know?
I gotcha. All right. So I had to ask that, but we'll move on for a second here.
Okay.
Otherwise, believe me, I would talk movies with you the whole time.
4-hour podcast, man. You struck a nerve.
And normally I would go with that, but I know we have more to talk about. So
Right.
I'm going to turn this around a little bit, and let's go just to the main stories of how you got into New Year's Day and Falling in Reverse, because I'm sure there's got to be something about how you were able. I mean, you're in one of the biggest scene bands that there are, and New Year's Day is right up there as well. So how did you meet everyone? What happened?
So this is single-handedly how it happened, right? So I was just like everyone else, man. Just like everyone else.
Yeah.
I grew my hair out. I had, 5 to 6 bands that I worshipped. I learned how to play. I started writing songs. I started playing shows, all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Ohio. I moved out to Las Vegas to pursue music. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I got in a couple bands there and everything was going good. Financial crisis hit. I was a 16 year old kid and I was basically sleeping anywhere I could and shit. And I needed a big boy job.
Right.
I had to go in at like 5:30 at night and get off at 6:30 in the morning and try to live a normal life during the day and go back to fucking work. It was just miserable and I was just sick of it. And I was looking at all these bands, whether so if there was a band I liked,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, I know I can do that. I know that I'm capable of being there. And if it was a band that, I'm not going to say that I don't like bands because, at this point it's more of a business and it's like, hey man, I can't get mad at them. These fucking kids are eating it up. So it's like, why are kids eating this up? And how can I get kids to eat my shit up? You know what I mean? So I was always thinking like that.
Right.
And finally, so at the time, there was a photographer named Jeremy Saffer,
mm-hmm.
which anyone who likes any band in the scene, they've seen a picture that Jeremy Saffer has shot. And I kind of owe him the leads to start my career, if I'm being honest. Cause, I was working in a factory one night because he's from Massachusetts as well. And I saw on his Facebook, he was coming to LA to shoot for some bands and to hit him up if you want to get a photo shoot squeezed in. But if you think about it, I mean, this guy was doing fucking Rob Zombie, Metallica. He was
Yeah.
doing horror conventions, so he was doing like Leatherface and Pinhead. It's like, why the fuck is he gonna want some kid who works at a factory from Vegas to drive all the way? Like, yeah, squeeze me in between Rob Zombie and Metallica if you got time. You know what I mean? So, but that was a turning point in my attitude, and I was like, the worst that he's gonna fucking say is no.
Right. Yeah.
So why not ask? And like I hit him up, and he hit me right away, and he's like, show up on Friday or Saturday, whatever it was, at 3:30. Bring 2 outfits and bring your guitars, whatever you want to do. And I fucking made it count, and we hit it off. And he's like, so what band are you in? I'm like, I'm actually looking right now. He's like, no fucking way. He's like, I think I got the band for you. And yeah, he hit up New Year's Day because I think they were kind of going through some member changes at the time. And
Sure.
I met Ash and Nikki, and they sent me some songs to learn, and it was a shoe-in.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, and it was honestly just like that. It's like I did the photo shoot in August. I started rehearsing in September, and I went to Europe in October. Like, it happened that fast.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man.
I mean, talk about telling people to take a chance and, follow your dreams. I mean, that's exactly what you did.
Oh yeah, you got to, man. You got to invest everything into what you want to do. I can't stress that enough. If you start thinking about plan B, you're not taking plan A serious enough,
Right. Yeah.
It's like when you feel it, you feel it. And if you're going to play it safe, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get safe results. You're going to get a safe crowd. You're going to get a safe record deal. You're going to get safe sales on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like no one wants to watch a band or the motherfuckers look like they work at Kinko's. You know what I mean? No one wants to listen to elevator music unless you're in an elevator. Like, push yourself. Push everything you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very inspirational. So
Yeah.
So then what happened with New Year's Day to make you move on? And then where'd you go from there to meeting Ronnie and Falling in Reverse?
So here's what happened with that. So I had toured with New Year's Day. We did some Europe stuff. We did quite a few US runs.
Yeah.
And when we had went to Europe, I had opened up for Escape to Fate.
Sure.
And, like I was a fan of that band.
Yeah.
And nothing necessarily happened per se. I started like I jumped on with Escape to Fate for a tour. I played bass for them, and I was just kind of helping them out because they were kind of going through bass players at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We went on the Motionless in White tour. It was called Beyond the Barricade. I believe that was For Today's last tour, if you know that band.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that was one of their last tours as well. But I just remember thinking, because I sing and I do all that kind of stuff as well. And, I was playing guitar and I was playing bass and all that kind of stuff. And I really, really, really wanted to pursue like my songwriting. Like I felt like my work wasn't done.
Okay.
It's like I got caught in this feeling of, I don't want to, at the time, I just didn't feel like that was my end all be all.
Okay.
Respectfully. You know what I mean?
For
It's
sure.
like
Yeah.
I had such a great time, and I owe so much to that band,
Mhm.
for believing in me and putting me on the road, and and we had a lot of good times. I have no ill will, and like there's nothing that I regret about that band.
For sure.
But I just felt like I needed to move on.
So
it was right before they started recording Malevolence.
Yep.
And I just kind of we just had a talk, and I was like, hey, I don't want to do this if my heart's not fully in it, and I hope you guys respect that. And because there's nothing worse than just like living a lie.
Yeah. Right.
It's like I didn't want them to think that I was just bullshitting about everything. So let me just come clean now.
Yeah.
It was like I really, and I wanted to keep the friendship, and I wanted to keep everything kosher, and and I mean, and look at where we're at now. We're still really good friends, and we're about to go on tour, and me and Nikki have been texting and stuff. It's like, had I not done it that way, this wouldn't have gone as it should. You know what I mean? So and that's another thing, don't burn bridges.
Sure.
Do things the right way. So yeah. So I mean, that's basically what happened. And then I had started a band in Vegas. It was called American Monster.
Oh, okay.
And it was really, really cool. It was with some of my best friends. This guy Brody, Logan, and Jerry.
Okay.
And it was very like Skid Row meets Pantera meets like a tinge of Avenged. Like
Ah.
it was very like late 80s, early 90s.
I probably would have liked that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking killer, man. It was really, really cool. But with that, to be honest with you, life just kind of got in the way. You know, when you're trying to, I've seen both sides of the coin. I've jumped right into tour buses, and I've had to eat shit and save up all my pennies just to, you know, make shirts and make sure I have enough money for rent. And well,
Right.
we can't, you know, rehearse this week because we don't have enough money. And I've slept in vans, selling my stage clothes soaking wet. So I've respected every step of the process. You know what I mean?
Right.
However, life just kind of got in the way for American Monster, so we just kind of went on a hiatus.
Okay.
So in that time, you know, everyone was getting their life together and blah, 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 blah. But me being hungry as hell, I was just like, I'm not just going to fucking sit here and be a bar back or, you know, I was grinding. I was doing a lot of shit I didn't want to do.
Sure.
You know, but I know, I knew and I know that music will always be my end game.
Right.
I will always fucking make it happen, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not one to like, well, I don't know. No, you fucking get it done.
There you go.
You know? So in that time, you know, I have a lot of friends who are in the industry and shit like that. And, a lot of guys were coming out to Vegas quite a bit. And Ronnie had just recently moved back to Las Vegas at the time, you know, because that's where he's from. And he just got a house out there.
Right.
We started hanging out a lot. And me and Ronnie just became really close friends.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's pretty much all it was. Like, we just hung out all the fucking time and just had a really good time. And he ended up moving back to LA. And at the time in Las Vegas, I just wasn't really pushing myself or doing anything to better my situation. Let's just call it a situation.
Yeah.
I was having one hell of a fucking situation. Okay, so let's just call it that. And I was like, you know what? I need to get out of this town for a little bit. I always loved LA. Let me just fucking move there and figure it out. So essentially, just overnight, I just jumped in the ocean and was learning how to swim, you know, like I always do, when I moved to Vegas, like when I moved everywhere.
Yep.
And yeah, so I started playing in Dead Girls Academy, which Ronnie was writing and producing for this band, Dead Girls Academy.
Yeah.
And I started playing with them. And we had opened up for Falling over in Europe, and I was doing some cool stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, like that was a super fun band, and we got to do a lot of cool shit. But then, I mean, the opportunity just presented itself. It's like me and Ronnie have been super close for a long time now. And like at that point, and he's just like, bro, I want you to play bass. I want you to do backup singing.
Wow.
And I was just like, dude, you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean? Like in my head, I was like, yes. It's crazy. Yes, I'm a fan of the band before I've known the guys and stuff, but at that moment in time, it was just like, holy shit, man! Like, you really like want me in the? Like, it was like mind blowing. You know what I mean? It was like super like I was just super grateful, and yeah, I mean it's been a huge fucking success for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the kids aren't like this guy sucks or you know anything like that, and you know. Because I mean, if you look at the history of Falling Universe as well, it's like what I've always admired about it is it's kind of like a Motley Crue in the sense where every album looks and sounds different, and there's always like an aesthetic difference. So one looks like hair metal, one looks like you know that Japanese like hip hop culture stuff.
Yep.
One is very like biker looking. One is you know like very high fashion. So like there's always been a change, and that's something I've always loved about Motley Crue too. So. Yeah, I mean, so and plus Ronnie's songwriting is just like getting out of control. You know what I mean? Like, so you know, like how he did the records, and now he's like putting out these singles, and every single just trumps the last one, and it's becoming so fucking huge.
Yeah,
you know, it's like how could I say no to that? You know what I mean? I was like super honored for him to even ask me. You know what I mean? So it's really really cool to be a part of it.
So now as a member, then as a permanent member of Falling in Reverse, like, are you feeling fulfilled like you wanted before? Do you get to help with any of these singles? Are you going to be helping with any of the newer music that's going to be coming out?
Okay, so that's a two-part question.
Yes.
Am I fulfilled? Absolutely.
Nice.
It's okay. Let me put it to you like this. So I was just going on tour with Falling. You know, I was helping out with like load in, load out. I was like doing some drum tech stuff, some guitar tech stuff.
Right.
And I just got to be on the road, and I got to shake the hands of the people who made like some of these bands just from like a band name on a piece of paper to, you know, the band name that's on the backdrop that sits in behind the pyro and shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like I got to meet these people that made those two happen, and I got to meet a lot of my favorite bands. You know, I got to meet, you know, Papa Roach and Day to Remember and Korn and Limp Bizkit, and it's crazy. But like, think about this, bro.
Yeah.
I was just being the guy that had to get up before the band woke up, and I had to load everything in.
Yeah.
Some would consider that a dream come true.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, that was like, it's like I got to load into fucking arenas every day. Like, just that was crazy. Yeah, I didn't get to be on the stage, but I got to sit side stage, and I was like watching like some of my favorite bands every night.
Right.
You know, like that was cool enough already. And then, you know, there was a mishap where someone like had injured their arm and they had to go home. And Ronnie was like, "Hey, like I remember we were in New York City. He's like, hey, bro, you're up." He's like, "Start learning these songs, and I'll tell you the harmonies." And just because I was able to do that, I got to fucking go to Australia, dude. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. It was like over. So we were in Europe in January, and then in February, March, we were in the U.S. and the last show was in Atlanta, and then we flew straight from Atlanta down to Australia.
Wow.
Had I not like played the guitar and sing and all that kind of stuff, I just would have went home with the rest of the crew, you know, just to save money, and they don't need, you know, an assistant drum tech or whatever the fuck it may be down in Australia, you know what I mean? But since I became, I wouldn't say an essential part, but it was a part that needed to be played in order for the band to play like a thick sounding show, I got to go to Australia. And it's just one of those things. It's like, you gotta say yes or no right there, you know?
Wow. Yeah. That's an amazing musician story. Right there.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I got a lot of stories. Some that'll fit this. Some that'll fit this podcast. Some not. Some I just have to tell you in person.
No, I totally get that. So, I mean, besides obviously this is awesome for you. I've seen you guys live. You're amazing live. I'm a fan of Falling in Reverse as well. So yeah, it's very cool for me to be able to talk about everything that you've gone through. So one of the things I also wanted to bring up too, so you were there for the Roast of Ronnie Radke as well, right?
Yeah.
I always thought that was a really interesting thing to do. I've talked about doing like scene roasts before, but never a tour about it. So you went out, you did everything acoustic as well, and then you did this kind of roast. What was that like for you, being there, being kind of the new guy, even though you were friends with Ronnie? Like, what was every night like? Was it cringy? Was it fun?
Okay, to be honest with you, if you sit on the Falling bus, you're going to get fucking roasted, dude. Like, no one's safe. Everyone just talks shit on everybody. And it's one of those things where if we don't roast you, we don't like you.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you're not getting roasted on, you know you should probably go find something to do. You know what I mean? So it wasn't anything that was offending. It wasn't, I mean, fuck. I mean, Ronnie had to come up with the idea, for Christ's sake. So it's like something that we were prepared to do.
Gotcha.
Something that I thought was really, really cool about the roast, though, is that, you know, we did everything acoustic, but we did The Drug in Me Is You as like a mariachi.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was a mariachi song. I'm sure you could find it on YouTube or some shit if people didn't get to catch the show.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't cringy at all. It was a lot of fun. And, yeah, it was a really, really good time. It was cool to hear the songs acoustic too. And it was cool because Ronnie has such a powerful voice.
Yeah.
And, you know, but even in acoustic, like he couldn't really tame that. So it's like we were like doing these smaller settings, but his voice was still kind of taking over the room.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The tour was canceled before they got to where I would have seen it. But
yeah,
I've seen the YouTube videos. Yeah, I've seen the YouTube videos. So yeah, I was just wondering because comedy is so tough to do live anyways. But then being musicians and doing comedy, that's a whole different story as well.
Yeah, basically we just brought the tour bus atmosphere onto the stage. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Everyone was just talking shit about each other. Then, like, you know, obviously it's a concert, so like we were playing as well. You know, people want to hear the song, so
yeah.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. A lot of good memories on that tour.
All right, Tyler. So I think that is a great place to end for tonight. Now, I know we're going to be talking about episode 3 a little bit. We're also going to have links in the description of the episode so that people can follow everything you're doing with Falling in Reverse. But I know episode 3, that tour, sounds fucking awesome. I am looking forward to it. So do you want to talk about it a little bit and then we'll close things out?
Sure. The only thing that I would want to hype up right now is the episode 3 tour. You know, the actual band and the crew for Fallen Universe. We all have a group chat, and Ronnie will, he'll update us on each city and shit. And I know that, a lot of cities have already been sold out.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's some cities where, shit, there's only like 5 to 8 tickets left. So if I could recommend anything, I would say to get your tickets now, because once they're gone, they're gone. I mean, we're playing a pretty fucking lengthy set.
Yeah.
And with the songs that are going to be on the set list, I mean, these aren't songs that you're just going to want to fucking watch on YouTube.
Right.
So I would definitely recommend getting your tickets now, because it's going to be a really fun show. All the bands I'm super stoked to be back on tour with. I think it's a thick package. It's going to be really, really it's going to be a really heavy set. So yeah, get your tickets, man.
Awesome, Tyler. I am with you as well. I am looking forward to that tour a lot. So Tyler, once again, man, I really enjoyed hearing your stories. I know you have a ton more, so you're going to have to come back on the show, maybe even after this tour is done, and talk about new music and everything you're doing. But thank you so much, man. Much appreciated.
100%, brother. You give me a call anytime.
You've been listening to Scene Daddy Interviews.
Thank you all for listening to Scene Daddy Interviews. Make sure you support the artists we featured by checking out the summary of the episode. Also, for all your scene news, reviews, and memes, make sure to follow Scene Daddy and Ian Hates on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe and rate Scene Daddy Interviews on your favorite podcast listening app for more great artist interviews in the future. Stay seen.